So welcome back, everyone. And as I'm losing my voice again, it's just crazy. This is just a fun show, and that's all we're doing here is it's all about nothing but me. And actually KFNX. We're live on Facebook again, so I just want to say hi to everybody that's following us, like us, and after the show, I'm going to share it with everyone just for fun. It's my 60th birthday, and it landed on the same day as my show, so I thought, you know what, let's have a party here, and we all are, if you can see it. Everybody can go up on Networking Arizona radio show, and you can see us all in here. And right now I have with me Doc. He's the owner of Hypnotic One, has been on one of my longest running guests, over 7 years. Also, he is also my executive producer of the new television show that we've all been talking about, that's really going to be fun for everybody to go check out and either be on or maybe you just want to watch it. It's going to be on Saturdays from 11 to noon on Channel 7 AZTV, and it's just going to be fun. It really is. We were here last week, and I'm going to first introduce my other guest that's with me here now before I talk about what we did last Friday. I also have with me Michael Van Vleck, and he is the owner of Denali, Arizona. He's been with me for at least 3 years, coming on my show here, and we've been having a blast. Every time you come on, it's so informational for everybody, but just as friends, more than anything. I think that's another thing that has happened with the guests that have been on my show. I really become friendly with you guys, right?
Well, I don't know about friendly.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We're not going to go that far.
We're friends. We're friends. For sure. Well, I think part of it is, at least for us, and Doc and I we go through life, and when you meet good people, you realize as you go through time, with those people that you do meet, there's certain quality people in your life that you recognize that you want them to be friends. So at least for me, I think that's where, I've gotten to know you. We've been able to go outside the radio and sit down and talk and learn about each other. And, just from my perspective, which is, which makes coming here just a little bonus, is knowing that you're such a great person and
thank you.
Have just, great stories. And
I think too, we all try to make it fun. I think that's the main thing, is just to have a lot of fun. Like you said, Doc, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. But also, I think what was really neat is how when I'm doing something, and like for instance this television show, like last Friday, we just had all Channel 7. We had Channel 7 here. We had Joe from Skyline. We had him here. We had Duco Marketing was on the phone. We had Channel 7. We had you here. And we were all just talking about the new television show.
And that show is going to be fantastic because it's just an extension of your radio show. It's a radio show with video.
It's a radio show on television.
And that's it. And I tell you what, people start associating our face with our product or services. And they're going to have a great time. And I can see that as soon as the show airs, you're going to be swamped with a lot of people saying, I want to be on the show. I want to be part of that too, because that looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to air. It's going to air July 28th. It's on from Saturdays from 11 to noon, and it's going to be on at least for 13 weeks. We know that for sure.
Oh, we're going to do another 13 after that. That's it. And the thing is just like people, when they come on your radio show, they're so nervous and they first start out, you put them at ease, and then when it's done with, they say, well, that went by so fast, and that was so easy. I want to do another one. And I can see the television show doing the same thing, because once you do something and find out, it's really not hard at all. You're just talking about your service or your product, and you're just talking to you forget about the cameras, and it's just natural.
And you know what I say to everybody is that it is simple to do, because you're giving me the questions that you want me to ask you about what you do. But I have to be honest with Mike, for some reason I tend to get lost on my notes with you all the time, and one of the last times, remember the last time when you came on, not the last time or the time before that, and literally you would come in all prepared.
I remember this.
And
you were asking me questions from something that has nothing to do with the topic we're on, and I somehow merged it. I don't even remember, but it didn't matter.
Work because the whole time I had no idea that I was on here's the thing, everybody doesn't know this, but I literally save everybody's stuff. I have Ted Watkins, he's 8 years on my show, his first piece of paper he ever gave me with all of his questions on it.
You've got my first one.
I do too. So, here I had all your questions here, and I thought I was just being so cool, right? Because I had everything in front of me. Meantime, I had the wrong questions in front of me, and I'm asking Mike all these questions that are totally not pertinent to what he wanted to talk about that day.
We marched it in. We gotta figure it out.
Which is that's what's so cool about the way we all work with one another.
And that's the thing is you want 6 or 8 questions sent in to you so you have a little time to study on it. And I don't think I ever did send you any.
Oh, yeah, she does send that.
And you'll ask me, what are we going to talk about today? And I said, I don't know. We'll just wing it.
Right.
You know what?
And winging it sometimes is the best. A lot of times people, when we go back to like 10 years ago, one of my first interviews on the air was without any questions.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that it was my daughter's dance teacher, right? She was, this is a long time ago, and they were taking ballet and stuff like that, and she was the owner of it, was Kimberly Lewis School of Dance. That's a little plug for her right there. But anyway, she had come on my show, and we were sitting there talking. We had no questions whatsoever, and it was the easiest one ever because we were just talking, and that's what I love about it, is if people would just, consider it as a conversation. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to memorize something or read something. Everybody that comes in here should know their product well enough to, if you're selling the product or the service, you should know it well enough to where you come in, you just talk about it. And it's very simple. And like you always say, it comes from your heart. Talk from your heart.
Right. I always love it when people start to read. Their question, they have their answers. I love it when they have the questions out and then they have their answers, right? And they start reading it. And then I sort of take the paper, while they're on air, I'll take the paper away from them sort of, and I'm going to say, we're going to just take this away for a minute, and I'm just going to ask you things that I just feel like asking you right now. And you could see them go white, right? But at the same time, right afterwards, I'll say to you, are you okay that I did that with you? And they're like, you know what, I am. Because you made it so that I wasn't. Because you don't want to sound like you're reading your business.
No.
You shouldn't have to.
But I think that's the important thing, and one of the things I alluded to a couple segments ago was the key really is for somebody to be able to get on the TV or the radio, to be able to do that as a small business owner and to have to go through the work to be able to make that happen and produce the things that need to be produced for that to happen is a very large undertaking. It really is. So for somebody who owns a local small business or something like that wants to do that, you provide them with access to do that with the convenience of having a lot of that work done to where they can just walk into the studio and put down some notes, and they're on and ready to go.
And some of my favorite guests are the ones that never tell me that they're going to be here or not, right, Mike?
Yep.
And they come walking in about a couple of seconds on.
I like to keep
and
you
it's
guessing.
Like, I guess Mike is going to be here today. Anyway, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking just about me and the show and the television show, and we're going to talk about KFNX as well. Well, we're back, and we are talking about me and my birthday. Today is turning 60, which I still can't believe.
Oh, it's your birthday?
Yeah,
My
my
gosh.
birthday. And I have these lovely flowers in here from everyone, Doc and also Denali, and also I have the station gave me some, and also Channel 7. Where's that other one that's over? It's missing.
Right here.
Yeah, there's one over there. And everybody that's watching us live on Facebook, hi. All the flowers are here because it's my birthday. Also, the 20th anniversary of KFNX. And again, without them, you guys wouldn't be able to listen to all your favorite people out there.
That's right.
They have a lot of diehards.
Absolutely.
A lot of people say to me, how many people listen to the radio anymore? And a lot of people listen.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. And let me tell you about people that listen to talk radio. Okay? And I know there's a lot of people listening right now, and you'll laugh at yourselves. They're diehard listeners. They are people that are very passionate about their feelings about things, and they actually talk back to the people that are on the radio.
But
and they'll talk to
surprisingly,
them.
but the people that tend to listen to the radio, I've found, because I do get calls from people who have listened to the show,
Yeah.
they tend to be more well-rounded and more educated in general.
That's
you know
because
what I mean? They
of the
tend
kind
to
of
be more
station
informed.
this is. The people that listen to this show, when someone asks me, well, what are the demographics? So they're a little bit older. They're anywhere from, like we say, 30 on up. 47% of them are women, and they're anywhere from middle to upper class people, and they are educated. So it just so happens that that's sort of the demographics of the show. Did you know?
Because your show's educational.
They're
not coming on to be entertained, even though I know we're all entertaining, but they're coming on to learn something.
You know what I think people say the most that they love about this show? Because it's not political, right? It's not political or anything like that. And it's information.
Not religious.
It's not.
It's not all those taboo subjects.
No,
we don't talk about sex, religion,
though I have
politics.
had people that, I have people that written books about religion. I have people that come on. I've had people call in from other countries, literally talking about, their beliefs and stuff like that, which is fine. I don't mind that whatsoever. They can talk about almost anything here, really. So the thing is about that, what I find my listeners who have been listening to me for a very long time is they say to me that they love it because it's information for them. And sometimes they don't need it right now, but sometimes they need it at a later time. And that's the neat thing. I even had people that literally have called me. Seriously, I have had people. I had one guy, a gentleman, you could tell he was an older gentleman, that had a DUI, and it was like his third one. Okay, very sad. It was a very sad situation, and he called me up. It was right after the holidays, a couple of years ago now, and he says, I know that you had an attorney on that does that. And here's the thing that is about me, because people think that, you come on my show, and let's say you come on and you get a call or no calls or whatever, it never ends. So I had happened to have figured out who he was talking about, and this must have been maybe 3 or 4 years ago that he was on the show. And I said, don't worry about it, I'm going to connect you with him. And I did. And I think that's what people really like about me, that I'm a connector in a way.
And that's it, because I remember when they called in about me to you from the Mayo Clinic. They would say, hey, who was that guy that was on there talking about getting people off drugs or getting people away from migraine?
And I had that with you, Mike.
Yep.
I had a guy that called me, and I kept his, I don't know if you ever, because this was before you went on your vacation, and I think I sent you the email about it. If you haven't, check it out, because I did get a guy that had heard you. I had aired you on a weekend replay. You had gotten a weekend replay, and a guy had heard your show, and he says he had called me up. And he had left a message saying, hey, I heard this guy, and he does property management, and it was you. And I said, I know you were you might have been on vacation or going on it, so if you haven't gotten it, check it, because I have that email, and I'll forward it to you.
Most, I would say, of the folks that do call in, most of them are great and gracious, and they either need information, they need to be pointed in the right direction. I do know the individual you were talking about, and he was in a different basket.
Totally?
Yeah, he didn't. It
was weird.
He didn't want information within the scope of what we do. He wanted me to do some research for him for real.
He wanted you to do the legwork for him.
So he wanted me to do.
And knowing Mike, he probably did it.
Well, so at first I'm talking to him, and he's asking questions, and I'm working to help him, and then he says, "Is there a way that you can?" Oh, I know what it was. He owned a property in some county in southern Arizona or something. It wasn't like a county in greater Phoenix area that we cover, and it was some random county. And he says, I own a property here, and I heard you talking about these kinds of things on the radio. I need to know how that applies to my county. So I was on the phone, and I say, okay, I'll look up some stuff for you. Here's where you should call this county, your county office, and ask them. And he's like, well, can you just call them for me and ask them these questions on my behalf? And I'm like, well, that's not really what we're here to do. I'm here to point you in the right direction. I'm happy to help, but that's outside of the scope of our area of even where we work.
So that is that.
And then he got mad at me. He started cursing at me and hung up on me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so it took a turn for the worse.
That's not nice. Mike is a good guy.
Yeah.
This is one out of many. So, you're going to get one.
Well,
one
you know
of those.
what, though? When I used to have my show on at night, I told you about that. It wasn't at night. It was from 7 to 8. Let me tell you, That's a whole other kind of people, too.
Hey, for us old guys, that's nighttime.
Yeah, it was. But I remember then once in a while we'd get a call that would be like a little bit obscure, you know.
This was obscure.
Yeah, that's
was fine.
weird. And that was a weekend show, too.
It was fine. I mean, it was, it was fine.
He wanted you to do something that he couldn't do, and he needed you to go an extra mile.
Well, I just said, hey, he wanted me to do some sort of real estate legal research, and I'm like, look, I'm not an attorney, but I can refer you to one. And he's like, well, I would prefer if you just did the work kind of thing. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
He was just looking for free legal advice, which I'm not an attorney. I can point him in the right direction.
No, but the thing about you, though, is that you're so educational and also so knowledgeable about what you do because you've been doing it for so long.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's one thing, but somebody to ask for specific, legal advice on what happens in an obscure county that isn't around is, it's like, hey, you need some greater help. So
Right. Well, that's going to happen, and it can happen on anybody's show.
He was probably another realtor.
Right, trying to throw me for a loop. Yeah, it could be.
Maybe it was.
Those things happen. But, I mean, overall, I think most of the folks that call relating to the show have a general need for information, and it's a tough thing to navigate.
One of my favorite stories about people being on my show, I had this gal on my show that actually came on way before I ever knew you. I mean, this is like probably literally 10 years ago, because I've known you for 7 years. And this gal had come on my show, and I didn't even know that she was a hypnotherapist, but she came on one time for 15 minutes, okay? And then she was done, and she left, and it was nothing. I hadn't heard from her. And like 2 years later, I get a call from her, and what I love about this is that about that time you probably were with me, and she calls me up and she says, Carol, I was on your show a couple of years ago, and I got a hit. I was like, okay. She goes, I want to do a campaign with you, but on something different, completely different. She was now doing mortgages with a gal, well, whatever. There's some guy and she's a fantastic couple, really. John Leard and I can't remember, Carolyn Drake. Fantastic couple. And she goes, I want to do a campaign. And it happened, I get a call, like sometime in the end of December, I get this call. And lo and behold, I said, well, sure, what's a campaign mean to you? She said, well, I'd like to do 12 shows. I was like, oh my God. And you know what? They came on, and they did 12 half-hour shows, and that was before the prices were different. This is a long time ago. And they were talking about that. They came in here, they had a radio button on their website that they created, and this just little, from that one little thing that happened that one time 10 years ago, and then she comes on with this guy. Not only one time did they do that stunt, they did like 2 or 3 times that they would come on. And,
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And that's what, look at Doc, you've been on for 7 years. I mean, you're as exclusive as they get with me.
But you know what? I was kind of chuckling when you said she first come on as a hypnotist, then she come on as something else.
That's
I'm
what
always
makes you
going to be the
different.
hypnotherapist.
Right.
That's
what makes you different. Before we leave, real quickly.
This is what I do, all the time. I'm not doing it on the side, and that's what most hypnotists in this valley. There's a lot of them out there that they got their certification over the weekend or whatever, and they try to make $1 at it, and they try to help people at it, and some of them are pretty good, but they just haven't the facilities. They just don't have the driving forward. They just don't put all their eggs in that basket.
Well, Doc, you've been doing it for over 30 years, and you know what I really love is that we've even brought our listeners, and that's another, I want to talk about this when we get back, some of the listeners that are also been on my show, that also come on the show. That's really fun, too, to talk about.
Super.
But you've helped so many people out there in the 7 years that we've had and the listeners that you've brought in on, and to be like kind of testimonials that come in here. It's really been
even
cool.
One of them rented time and did a radio show here for a while.
That's right. I mean, my God. So anyway, and Michael Van Vleck, he is the owner of Denali, Arizona. He's helped a lot of people. He's all about educating you guys out there. But we're talking about me and KFNX today. And when we come back, we're going to talk further. So check us out. Go up on the website. It's networkingarizona.net.